Alan Wilson spoke to one of the neighbours who I mentioned earlier.
All I got was from another person around here who he goes out to see about films on TV, and they record films and that, right? All I got was two stories. One was that he had asked him, I'm not remembering this very well, if a tape recorder was put somewhere, could it be turned on and off remotely? And if a tape recorder was sort of in somebody's room and it was remote, could you then listen to it elsewhere? Now, I don't believe that to be true, because young John watches a lot of films and he will know bloody well about, he's a film addict, about people recording and listening and devices. It's in every bloody modern detective film, isn't it? So, I mean, I found that odd. And,
so you found that out, and what? Then you challenged him on it?
I found it odd. And then there was a third statement. This guy changed the statement again. He said, oh, John had come into his flat and he'd been looking at the computer, and he said, oh, what's that on your computer screen? And he said, oh, they're recording devices. No, I think this guy's got something to do with it. I'm getting three different stories off Mr. What he says, John said. I'm saying three times different statements regarding recording devices, and John linked with John McNeil.
Right. So Alan thinks his neighbour may have something to do with the fire. Baram suggests the other neighbour, also from London, could be the main instigator due to previous intimidation attempts. It's a possibility then that and conspired in some way to persuade McNeil to put something under Baram Blackett's bed, which caused the fire.
Since he moved in 2008, there's been nothing but trouble. I was approached by down in Newcastle Central Station before this atrocity, a few weeks before this atrocity, and he came up waffling to me about, I'm a Jew and my such and such, I think it was his woman, blah, 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 and I thought, what the hell is this imbecile talking about? He's basically saying we're anti-Semitite, which is one, with many disinformation has been spread. In truth, Alan's best friend is a Jew. His lifelong friend was Benny Jacobs, who's the only man who helped him when he hit hard times in the 1950s. My favourite GP is a Jew.
So he's accusing you of being anti-Semitic?
It's absolute rubbish. A professional would check up on the facts first.
So you think that this attempt at you may be, well, you think it's possibly related to your historical research and the fact that, you know, Alan has had meetings with people of the Welsh Assembly, or was arranging that, and you're possibly going to get some interest in your Ark of the Covenant work. So what you're saying is that let's just go down the route of assumption that this person is a low-grade MI5 spook and that he's been set up to intimidate you or what have you. He's actually being given different reasons to intimidate you, that you're anti-Semitic.
He's been wound up like the proverbial clockwork rat, literally,
right.
out of a shop, sent from London to cause disruption, which he has done since 2008.
And he is from London. He's not
from London.
From up here.
He's got no reason to come here. And my inquiries, I must remind you that we did have an MI5 operative who I became friends with, and I was invited to go for meetings and interviews and that about this MI5, MI6 business. I thought I would be proficient in that capacity, but at the time I was doing quite well. I was doing okay.
This is a while back.
This is going back to the late 90s. I was doing okay, so I declined the offer. Maybe I should have taken the offer on board. I don't know.
So, assuming the fire was deliberate, who is ultimately behind it?
And if it was a government, we wouldn't survive. If it was a real government, they could pop us off any time. It's what you call the rogue element of MI5. Basically, the underbelly scum.
The thing is, Baram, you don't know that fully. You just suspect that. So let's just stick to what happened. It sounds to me like he's trying to vindicate or get the blame off himself. You know, that he's trying to.
Yeah.
He's obviously been worried that the fire has occurred after he's put this thing under your bed. Therefore, he's trying to get blame off himself, and it sounds to me that he may well be blameless, that he's maybe being duped into putting this thing there.
I think McNeil is sort of trying to redeem himself by saying, well, I was only listening to the advice, because he knew that people were telling us about it.
Right.
Anyway, including and others. And he also said to a man Chris, who works over in a little supermarket opposite, that, look, I'm not going to take all the blame for this. He's actually said that. I'm not going to take all the blame for this, inferring that I'm only a small part of this conspiracy.
Right. All the evidence and interviews I have gathered in making this programme will be handed to the police on the day this show is aired. What might the motives be for what seems to be a deliberate attack?
Corporate interest has been linked. Corporate interests, particularly more recently, we've had Alan Hassel up there with his Polestar machine. He's ill now. He's about
This
70
is
years
the
old.
alleged discovery of the Ark of the Covenant.
And other very valuable sites. His Polestar machine, he's the only one in the UK who has a Polestar machine. He's an expert at that. He's in London. He's one of our London contacts.
I've spoken to him.
He is of the opinion, and many others, it's corporate interests. If me and Alan are rubbed out, get me first, and then Alan's a piece of cake. I've been told that.
Because
The
you are
point
effectively
is,
protecting
they
Alan.
could then go and excavate, dig up these vast sites of non-ferrous metals.
Okay. So that could be one huge motivation.
Huge motivation. You think
to get rid of
it's
you and Alan.
These could be almost parallel with the South African gold mine in a different intrinsic way.
Doubt.
Intrinsic way. Now, if me and Alan are around, God knows what we'll see.
Yeah.
We want to get us brushed under the carpet so they could perceive.
I mean, for a start, you would become 50% owners of the find.
We become by law,
and you would be, you would be hailed as probably two of the greatest historical researchers, that there are, if that thing is there and if it is dug up. So, yeah, I can see a motive perhaps to get you out of the picture so that someone else can then come and dig it up. This is just one of dozens of criminal acts against Alan Wilson and Baram Blackett, which I will outline in next week's show. I asked Alan about possible political interests, which may have had an effect in the past.
Julian Hodge set up a Bank of Wales. He's a man who started off as an accountant with the British Railways, and he had certainly a murky, seemingly murky start in life. He was well into the business of people buying cars on hire purchase, and before you knew it, he had large garages and hire purchase, and he became a rich and wealthy man, and he set up a Bank of Wales. He recruited as directors James Callaghan, from MP for Cardiff South, who successively was Home Secretary, Foreign Secretary, Chancellor and Prime Minister. He also recruited MP for Cardiff West, George Thomas, Secretary of State for Wales and Speaker of the House of Commons. They were his directors with him on the Bank of Wales. As I say, a strange reputation. They moved the Bank of Wales to Jersey, and the story is that South Africa, whereas Britain was worried about currency going out of Britain, they weren't worried about it coming in. And South African companies were pumping money into the bank in Jersey, and they was bringing it in then to Britain. Virgin Territory, they found new companies in the Virgin Territory. And one of the things that Callaghan and Hodge and Thomas did was to buy up open cast coal mining companies and set them up. Now here you've got the miners fighting for their existence under Thatcher. She's going to close them all down. 54 pits deep pits in Wales, one of whom was in North Wales, right? Most of them were profitable, right? And they're supposed to be supporting the miners, and at the same time they're setting up Crouchmore mining, Ryan open cast coal mining, another open cast coal mining. They're all in these. They're all set to do open cast instead of deep. But a plan did come into the Western Mail one day, it got printed by mistake I would think, of an open cast coal pit 25 miles long successively and a mile wide and 300 metres deep, because that's the only way to get the 7,000 million tonne of coal out of the Randall Drift. You can't do it that way.
So you think some of these big companies, open cast coal companies...
Well, Callaghan and Thomas were into them. Right. No, they then recruited Nicholas Edwards, who in the Thatcher government was Secretary of State for Wales, as a director.
Right.
And Nicholas Edwards decided it would be a good idea if they put £500 million to revitalise the valleys, spearheaded by Ryan International Open Cast Coal, of which he was a director. Now, Nicholas Edwards is Secretary of State for Wales, an MP, and he's a director of this company, and as Secretary of State, he's going to give a company that he's an executive director of
Right.
500 million quid.
Right.
So we wrote to Thatcher, I did. I said, look
So
at this
you
guy.
wrote to Margaret Thatcher.
I did. So I got a reply from a flunky. So I wrote back and I said, Mr. Thatcher, I didn't write to you, flunky, I wrote to you. What are you going to do about it? I got a reply from a different flunky. So I wrote a third time. I said, look, I'm writing you for the third time about this guy Edwards, you know. What are you going to do about it? And Nicholas Edwards resigned. Bang.
So he resigned then?
Aye. Now, the other thing is, Callaghan and Thomas and Hodge bought land at Lantricid. Useless land, not much. No good. When they then, Labour Party, wanted to move the Royal Mint out of London because it couldn't expand because of the confined area in London it had, the only place to put it in Britain was right on the land owned by Callaghan, Thomas and Hodge.
Okay.
Now, late one Thursday night, about 20-odd Labour MPs kept a meaningless debate going and going and going about 2 in the morning. And in walked Thomas and Callaghan, and they apologised to the House of Commons. By apologising to the House of Commons, and the apology was accepted, it means that matter can never ever be discussed again.
So what were they apologising for, Alan?
Well, they're crooks. They own the land at Lantricid, and they made a fortune by putting the Royal Mint on it.
Right. Okay.
They're,
So
they're going to be looking through bars, all right? They're not
So
going to
how
be drinking
does-
at the bar. They're going
okay,
to be looking
so
through
this,
them.
So what you're saying is that there's corruption involved
All
in,
over the
in-
place, aye.
in politics. How's that affected your work then? Are you saying that some of these big businesses would
Well, they
not,
don't
would
want
not
us
want archaeological digs in
On
Wales?
sites that are valuable for
that have
other
got
purposes.
coal underneath them?
That's right. That's part of it.
Right. So,
There's
so
all
there's
sorts.
another,
You
there's-
wouldn't be putting the windmill farm up on that damn mountain if they know what we got there.
So there's a possible another motive of the powers that be, shall we say, to not want you
That's right.
just making discoveries or
That's right.
archaeological digs because
That's
there's
right.
coal under there, but they're not digging it out now.
It's a future resource, but you'll never
Right.
get it up if King Arthur and all the other things that's on it are on it.
Right.
You'll never touch it.
So
They don't know where we're
right.
going to find something next, do they?
Yeah. So if say the Ark of the Covenant was dug up at unmissable, then there's no way people are going to start digging coal from there. That's what you're saying. It's going to be would be turned- would be- would be
Arthur
turned into a new
Arthur
Mecca.
and St. Peter's and King Hycaranek and the grave of King Moirig is all up on the mountain above Brunei. You're not going to get that on the drift. You ain't going to dig that up.
Right. Okay. So there's another.
Now, you
Possible
wouldn't dig
motive.
up coal in Stonehenge, would you? You destroy Stonehenge? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You see what I get that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are, we've had to find out what reasons there might be in this. But there's other little things, also little things in the straws in the wind.
Well, one of the things that you want done is to have the site excavated on unmissable to see if the Ark of the Covenant is there. One of the most important
Well, something's there.
artifacts.
Because the metal,
Yeah.
a metal
Yeah.
detector is not human being. It can't lie. It goes bzz, 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 bzz. And if it hits non-ferrous metal, it goes ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
If it hits ferrous metal, it goes dong, dong, dong.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom line is we're asking them to dig a hole, basically. Cut all the flim-flam out, subterfuge and these slimy cloak and dagger conspiracies and this conniving. If we are incorrect, there's only one, we'll have egg on our faces. But they have been avoiding digging that place up at all costs.
The evidence as to why the Ark of the Covenant is claimed to be in this location will be presented in a future show. I spoke to the metal detection expert who has already surveyed the site. And I've spoken to Alan Hassel, and I've got a full statement
Good
of
lad.
Alan. So I independently, he's a trustworthy guy.
Pete Sunwood was there, and we went to see the farmers,
Yeah.
and we said, please come 300 yards up to the,
Yeah.
get on your car, we can drive a Land Rover. Oh, we'll come up some other time. As if we're going to go 300
Yeah.
miles down there, 350 miles.
Okay, Alan. Let's just say the site is excavated on unmissable, and the Ark of the Covenant is proven to be there.
Yeah.
Then basically you will be vindicated 100%, and your work, your other work,
Yeah.
people will then have to take everything. That would be the
Well,
catalyst which
we
will
know
get your work
the most obvious thing.
accepted. I've just finished negotiating with the two farmers, two brothers who own the land behind me here, at unmissable, and on their land there is a man-made mound in which Alan Wilson believes the Ark of the Covenant is buried. Now, it was quite a delicate negotiation. I asked if I could go on the land to take some photographs, and straight away they said no. So then they wanted to know why, so I explained the fact that I'd followed some of Alan Wilson's work, and they were very well aware of Alan's work, and they explained to me what happened when he came here, and that he brought some ground penetrating radar here and he did some tests, etc. Now, they said that they weren't convinced that he'd actually found anything, and they said that he hadn't actually shown them any concrete results, that there was anything there, so therefore they weren't prepared to have their land dug up based on what they thought was nothing. But they then did say that having said that, they didn't go up there and see what he was doing. They didn't show much interest. So I've persuaded them to at least have an independent person come on the land and do another test, and if they do find something there and they can demonstrate it to them, that they would possibly then consider having the land excavated to see if there is indeed anything there. And in the very, if that's what it is, if it is a conspiracy and there was this incendiary device, they very nearly succeeded in the summer of 2011, Baram. So, you know, it's really, you know,
absolutely heinous, heinous criminal deed. I will mention that. We looked at McNeil was very well given hospitality, free accommodation for 3 years. Whether he thought it was an incendiary device or a listening device or a banana skin, he had no business going into my bedroom and planting it under the bed.
Yeah, yeah.
He was true. It was treachery.
Yeah.
At best, he's an imbecile who's treacherous. That's the best scenario, I think. You know,
Okay.
that's the best. Now, the imbecility factor, human imbecility factor, is what these MI5 rely on most weaknesses. You know, I don't claim to be...
To dupe people into doing X, Y, and Z. So they give them a false motive.
Yeah, a false motive and a combination of other things, including monies,
Yeah.
by the way, and get looked after. They get the pull strings to get them accommodation and all sorts of skullduggery goes on. The point is, I can't be bluffed by them. I can't be fooled by them. I can't be manipulated by them.
So it doesn't matter about the Ark. You get the cross first if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Or get King Arthur if you want. And we found the treasure site.
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. And they, the British, gathered together all the treasures of Britain and buried them in one place, and no man has seen them since. Oh, yeah?
But I'm very loyal, which is becoming an unfashionable quality in this generation, loyalty and old school values.
I've been down to the site where you and Alan, well, Alan says he knows the Ark of the Covenant is buried at unmissable. The other thing that I discussed with them, I asked them if they knew about the significance of the Ark of the Covenant, and I don't think they understood the full significance of it, but I did discuss with them the fact that this could bring tens of thousands of jobs to South Wales. It would become almost like a new Mecca. It's not just a treasure, you know, coins or something like that. It's something of global significance. And when I said that to him, he obviously has been told that by Alan, but I don't think he fully believed it. I don't think they've really fully understood the magnitude of what could be in this hill if Alan Wilson is correct. So at least I've persuaded them to have a second opinion of someone who can do some metal detection, and so I'm now going to try and seek that out and get back to them and see if we can come back here and do some tests on this hill. All right, Noel. Well, thanks very much for your time, and
You're welcome.
hopefully this interview is going to do some good. And you know, let's just hope we can get some excavation done on any one of these sites.
My wish, I'm old guy, 79 years old. We do wish, we've seen these valleys, we've seen the state they're in. There's 30,000 jobs here for the people who are destitute. And that is really one hell of a thing that needs to be done.
All right, thanks, Alan.